world is moving toward a new age of travel and identification. Borders, passports, and identity checks are no longer what they used to be. Instead of relying only on paper documents and physical stamps, governments are creating systems that depend on biometrics, digital records, and technology that knows you by your face, your fingerprints, or even the way you walk. This shift is already taking place, and it will shape the future of freedom of movement. You see, there's so much put out there, fear-mongering, lies, people who want to sound like they know what they're talking about. So I dug deep and said to myself, let me see what's going on right now on this day, in this year, what they have for us. Because so many conspiracy theories are put out there and so many ignorant people are spreading falsehoods put out as facts. That's what I really wanted to say. But for many, this change looks like progress. Travelers can move through airports faster, and security agencies claim they can stop fraud and track criminals more easily. But with these benefits also come deep concerns. Who holds your information? How is it used? Can mistakes in the system hurt innocent people? And what does it mean for communities that already face unfair treatment? The United States has already taken strong steps toward the future. The Real ID Act, which became fully enforced in 2025, requires every traveler to use identification that meets federal security standards. Passports and new state IDs are part of this push. At the same time, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has rolled out facial recognition at airports and ports, making it one of the largest biometric programs in the world. Now, beyond America, entire regions are pushing digital identity. The European Union has passed laws to give each citizen a digital wallet that will store their ID and other records. India has created the largest biometric ID system in history, known as Aadhaar. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's capital A-A-D-H-A-A-R for those who want to search it. This links people to services like banking, voting, and healthcare. These examples show that the world is not just talking about digital ID, it is putting it into place. Now, today I found out, and I didn't jot that down, but Ghana is kind of weaving the banking system in with the ID card, with the Ghana card. So I'm going to have to add something down in the comment section because I just found that out about that, which, you know, with Ghana in the West, they're very much interchangeable. So the Caribbean, United States, Canada will have these systems put into place, but it's a little more sinister than that while looking innocent. But I have to research that to get that thing, you know, together and put it out there. Because like I said, there's a lot of propaganda put out. But as these systems grow, some imagine a future where by 2030, the whole planet could be tied into one shared identity system. While that may be an exaggeration, it is true that nations are aligning their technologies and standards. For the everyday traveler, this means that the way to prove who you are and what governments can see about you will soon be very different from today. And we speak about biometrics. Biometrics are at the center of these changes. Your face, eyes, fingerprints, and even your voice can now be stored in databases and checked by machines. Airports across the US and Europe already use face scans to confirm who you are before boarding a plane. Supporters say it makes lines shorter. Critics warn that facial recognition is not perfect and that it makes more mistakes with darker skin tones. Makes you wonder about that. Is that by design? Most new passports already contain electronic chips with digital versions of your photo and, in some cases, fingerprints. The International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, sets the standards for these passports, which means countries can read each other's chips at their borders. This is a quiet but powerful step toward linking global travel into one system. Governments are moving beyond paper. Digital IDs on phones are becoming real policy. In Europe, new laws require that each country create a digital identity wallet. This will let citizens prove who they are online, pay for services, and travel. Other nations are testing similar systems. The idea is that your phone will soon become your passport, your driver's license, and your identity card all in one. This sounds convenient, but it also creates risk. If your phone is stolen, hacked, or controlled by authorities, then your entire identity could be exposed. Digital systems also leave behind trails of data that can be used to monitor where you go and what you do. Many people wonder if microchips under the skin or brain implants will replace passports and IDs. Today, this is not the case. Neuralink, for example, is testing brain implants to help people with medical problems such as paralysis. Some small companies in Sweden and elsewhere have experimented with microchips for payments or workplace access, but no government is requiring them for travel. Still, the fact that these technologies exist makes people question where things are heading. While implants may not be part of official ID systems anytime soon, the rapid growth of wearable and implantable devices shows that the line between the body and technology is becoming thinner and thinner. A digital world gives law enforcement more tools. With facial recognition and connected databases, agencies can track wanted individuals more easily. This can make it harder for criminals to cross borders or hide behind false names. Watch lists combined with biometrics also exist at U.S. airports. But the same systems can also make mistakes. A false match can put innocent people under suspicion. In communities that already face racial profiling, these errors could add more problems. For example, studies have shown that facial recognition systems often perform worse with black and brown faces, raising the risk of unfair targeting. While some imagine a single global system, the reality is more complex. Different nations have different laws, standards, and political interests. Instead of one worldwide database, what is forming is a network of connected systems. Passports, digital IDs, and biometric standards are being designed so they can work together, even if countries do not share all of their data. That means by 2030, you may not see one central world government controlling everyone's ID, but you will see countries aligning their systems so that your face or fingerprint can be checked across borders in the same way. The world is headed toward interoperability, not full centralization. In Africa, many countries are rolling out national digital ID programs, often with support from international groups or private companies. These programs can help people access services, banking, and healthcare, but they can also expose populations to surveillance if privacy protections are weak. In rural areas where people still barter or live outside of cash economies, rolling out digital ID will take time. For Black communities in the United States, digital identity brings both promise and risk. On one hand, stronger ID systems can reduce barriers to travel or accessing certain services. On the other hand, history shows that surveillance tools often hit these communities harder. If digital systems carry built-in bias or are misused by authorities, then the harms will be real. Worldwide, Black people in the diaspora may face new challenges if errors in digital records follow them across borders. At the same time, these communities must push for fair laws, strong insight, and ways to correct mistakes. Without these safeguards, digital systems can repeat and deepen old injustices. The future of travel and identity is not a distant dream. It is happening right now. Biometrics are becoming the standard, passports have chips, and governments are linking identity systems to phones and digital records. By 2030, much of the world will rely on these systems to regulate who moves where. But it is unlikely that one single global identity system will control all people. Instead, nations are building networks that can talk to one another. This allows cooperation without giving up full control. Yet even with this looser model, the risks of privacy, freedom, and fairness remain serious. Communities must remain alert. Technologies that promise convenience can also bring new forms of control. For Black communities in particular, history warns that surveillance often targets them unfairly. As digital systems grow, so must the demand for transparency, accountability, and equal treatment. In Africa, digital ID systems could open up access to essential services, but they must not leave rural populations behind or become tools of misuse. In America, people must watch how law enforcement applies these technologies and insist on oversight. The road ahead is clear. Identity will be digital, biometric, and increasingly global. The question is not whether these systems will exist, but how they will be used. The struggle for fairness, privacy, and human dignity must walk side by side with technology. Communities must stay informed and united so that the future of identity does not repeat the mistakes of the past. And that's something that we're going to have to watch, because one technological mistake can create a domino effect, which can affect the person for a very long time. And who has to clear it up when these mistakes happen? How long will it take? And how long will you be demonized if you're one who is identified as a criminal and all you're trying to do is travel? These things can happen. So we have to make sure and remain vigilant that it probably will work, but not all the time. You just don't want to get caught in the web of somebody else's mistake. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that information to you. That is what it is right now on this particular date that this video is presented, and maybe things will change. In the comments section, if you want to add something in, or weeks or months from now something else transpires or something else is new, add it in and let's talk about it. Let this be a continuous conversation, because things are moving really fast and we're finding out about so much. But just look at it. Look how fast the world has changed in the last 10 years. And could you imagine how in 10 more years, how fast things are going to change? But you see, things are going to change by 2030 so fast. Let's keep our eye open, keep each other informed, and not fall for false propaganda, and always check up on the facts. Yes, it's been enjoyable. I just wanted to bring you these facts. Anyway, Lancescurv out. Leave your comment and let me know what you think. Peace out.